Join me on a fast-paced walk through time, following the route of the medieval city walls. Starting at the only surviving gate, we'll trace the line of defences that once guarded the city, pausing at hidden fragments, lost entrances, and curious remnants that people walk past without even realising they're there. Hidden beneath the busy Georgian streets of Bath lies the city's original East Gate. Once part of the medieval walls that enclosed the city, this was the smallest and most discreet of Bath's four main gates. Unlike the others, it was never locked at night. Instead, it offered quiet passage for those heading to the ferry across the River Avon or to the Monk's Mill, once owned by Bath Abbey. The remains of the mill can still be seen today in Parade Gardens. This short street, Boatstall Lane, preserves the route taken by townsfolk for centuries, long before the Empire Hotel or Grand Parade existed. The Eastgate is one of the last places where you can still physically see the fabric of medieval Bath. As we head up past the towering Empire Hotel, it's worth noting that large sections of the city wall were demolished during Bath's 18th and 19th century building boom. Some fragments still survive in basements and foundations nearby, hidden beneath modern streets and buildings. The city wall followed this route along Terrace Walk. Right here, below the front windows of the Abbey Hotel, you can glimpse another piece of the original wall, now at basement level. From here, the wall once headed south, tracing the city's medieval edge for centuries. Following the line of the old wall, we head along North Parade buildings. At the end, we can look over the wall for a quick glimpse at a larger surviving section. Here, tucked behind the Marks and Spencer's delivery yard, stands one of Bath's most substantial surviving stretches of the city wall, about 65 feet or 20 metres long. The lower courses of finer masonry are probably Roman, with repairs and rebuilding carried out in the medieval period. This section survived the wholesale demolition of the walls in the 1760s, but its fate wasn't entirely kind. A large portion was demolished in 1959 during the construction of the store. Even so, what we see today is part original, part restored, and standing here gives a real sense of just how tall and imposing the city's defences once were. Just beyond here, towards Ham Gardens, once stood the Ham Gate, a small postern gate between the east and south gates. Archaeological excavation in the 1950s uncovered its opening. Records suggest it was built around 1279 to 1280 and formally closed in 1643. Continuing along New Orchard Street brings us to the location of the South Gate, once the southernmost entrance to the city. In medieval times, this gate stood above what is now Southgate Street, topped by a statue of King Edward III. The South Gate led directly to the roads towards Wells and Bristol. Like the others, it was pulled down in the 18th century to make way for Georgian expansion. Following the line once more, we pass St James's Memorial Park and along lower borough walls before turning onto Westgate buildings. By the 18th century, tenements were being built right on the line of the city ditch here, with their backs supposedly overhanging the infield ditch outside the wall. This was once the site of the Westgate, the main entrance from the west. It was wide enough for carts and carriages and may have featured defensive towers. Nothing remains today but the street name which tells its story. From Westgate Street we head to Saw Close and begin tracing upper borough walls, following the medieval northern line of the city. Here, part of the city wall was rebuilt in Victorian times, but beneath it lies its original medieval stonework. If you head down the steps behind it, you'll find a small plaque marking the formal burial ground for the Royal Mineral Water Hospital opposite. The graveyard closed in 1849, and it's the main reason that this piece of wall survived while others were lost. We continue along upper borough walls until we reach Northgate Street. Here once stood the North Gate, one of the principal entrances to medieval Bath. Historic accounts describe it topped with a statue of King Bladud, the legendary founder of the city, a statue now thought to reside in the Roman Baths. The gate led out towards Walcott Street and the Fossway. Like other gates, it was removed during the 18th century development, but its memory lives on in the street name. From here we head along Bridge Street, curving round to the back entrance of the Guildhall. Inside the Guildhall Market, a strip of polished stone in the floor of M&K Hardware is often said to mark the original line of the city wall. In reality, the alignment doesn't match, and it's more likely a remnant from one of the market's many remodels. Looping back along Grand Parade, we return to our starting point at the East Gate, having completed a full circuit of Bath's medieval defences. Much of medieval Bath may lay buried beneath its Georgian grandeur, but if you know where to look, The past still whispers from the stonework. Thank you for joining me on this walk, and keep your eyes open. There's always more history to discover.